Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar brought to you by CanTrade and managed by Wellford. Today, we are very excited because we have got the very senior management team from SCGM Bhd to join us in this live chat. All right. So, how are you guys doing? If you are,
I'm fine. Hello. 大家好.
Okay, great. We have got the Dato Sri Lee Hock Singh, Executive Chairman of SCGM Bhd. We have got Dato Sri Lee Hock Guan, Deputy Managing Director from SCGM Bhd. We also have David Chen, Investor Relations and Sustainability Director from SCGM Bhd to join us in this live chat. All right. So if all our friends here, attendees here are ready for this session, please type ready. Okay.
Yeah, ready.
If you're ready for SCGM. All right, cool. So it shows that our slide webcam and everything works fine. All right, thank you so much for joining in this CanTrade webinar, live chat with SCGM Bhd, sustainable business practices going forward. Now, as you know, COVID-19 has hit us very hard. And then, of course, most of us here have picked up this lifestyle habit of tapao-ing, okay? And while the COVID-19 pandemic has been benefiting the thermoform F&B plastic packaging manufacturers such as SCGM, the company is not resting on its laurels. So the management is also making preparation for the economy reopening. So since relocating to a bigger plant in Kulai and make a strategic shift to focus more on high margin customized F&B products, so SCGM has achieved many great quarters for the past 2 years. So today we have got the senior management team from SCGM to join us to talk about their company overview, their fourth quarter result, as well as their ESG practices. All right. So disclaimer, as usual, whatever discussed in this webinar, presented in this webinar is only for educational purpose. So in no way that we give any recommendation to buy, any recommendation to sell any companies that we mentioned in CanTrade webinars. So if you decide to make any investment decisions after this webinar, you are 100% responsible for all your investment decisions. Okay. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite the Executive Chairman of SCGM Bhd to join us in this live chat. How are you, Dr. Sri Lee Hock Singh?
Hey, good. Everyone.
All right, cool.
Safe.
Are you ready?
Ready.
To present?
Okay.
All right, cool. So let me hand over the session to you.
Okay. Thank you, Sherman and Jason. Good evening to all the attendees our CanTrade briefing guests. We have a very happy mood and would like to share with all the public. May I introduce myself? I'm Dato Sri Lee Hock Singh. Beside me is David Chang. And the other hand is my brother, Dato Sri Lee Hock Guan. Today, we'd like to share with you about SCGM. I think all of you would like to know more about SCGM, how to pass through the COVID-19 period. We have restructured our objective, example, like selected more of the items are customer made and better profit margin. And so we packed more profit items. From NCO time is until now, you can see from the market, like bento tray, takeaway lunch box, and 3 compartment or 4 compartment lunchbox tray. And besides, we sell a lot of the tray, bento tray to PPV center. The outstanding order quite huge. SCGM main business is 95% F&B. PPE is just 5%. After you can see from the slide, company are keeping on more automation to cut down our labor costs, be more efficient our output is higher and better quality, and we can achieve more economy of scale. I believe you can see from my past year record, profit are keeping increasing. We must obtain better result profit to return to our shareholder. At the same time, our policy 40% profit dividend still in place. May I speak Mandarin 啊？各位亲爱的 Cantrade 听众们，大家傍晚好。首先，我相信大家很想知道这个68%的工作量之下，公司会怎么样？在68%的工作量的疫情之下，要怎么保持我们的利润不掉？首先，我们马上即刻选择一些高利润的产品，肯定了那些高利润的产品优先找出来应付客户。那么低利润的我们会尽量放在一边，这样就不会浪费我们的资源，因为只有能够用68%哦。就是说，只能够用到68%的人才，好，这个就要好好的保护我们的资源。在这个疫情之下，我们领导层重新安排了很多策略，让公司不会受到很大的影响。假如有的话，也是一个很轻微的吧。大家可以放心吧。领导者最重要的要有创新的思维。假如没有创新的思维，你就没有办法跑出这么多吸引人的产品。一定要有一种先知先觉，才有办法把公司的生意往上冲。过去大家有目共睹的，要怎样让公司从亏钱转为赚钱呢？我们一定要有正能量，我们一定要走在我们的同行面前，他们的前端。所以我们公司开发了很多个创新的产品，待会会由拿督斯李副员来介绍大家。我们要努力，而且是要非常非常的努力，因为这个疫情不够努力，就不能够成为佼佼者。去年在疫情中，我相信有一些我们的股友们大家都知道，我们在3月就开发了面罩，面罩，那么过后就开发口罩，那么这个突破也给公司带来去年的1年的盈利蛮高，全年大概可以达到800-900万。这个单单是 PPE， 大家可以看到我们的业绩已经去年的全部都出炉了，在 KLSE 的 screener 公布。比起前年，你们说我们好不好？我相信大家会同意好，谢谢你们。同时在这里，公司也突破了好多个新的 Bandon Tray 也饭盒也在去年的 NCO 诞生，因为大家可以看到人民的生活大大的改变，大家有发现到吗？ 当这些突然的改变，也就造就了我们公司很多商机。尤其目前的 PPV Center 这个负责这个quarantine的一些地点哦，跟我们采购的，不管马来亚或者新加坡，都相当大的订单，因为大家待会会看到这样的盒子啊，3个个、4个个的哦，都蛮多。大家要记住 SCGM 是做饰品行业为主，哦。不过在这边我顺便打一下我的广告，请大家买口罩，认定 SCGM 这个标志，这个是有医疗等级的，而且我们有 PUV、FDA 的认证这些哦。你买了你会放心的去用，记得上我们的网址采购 scgm.my 啊 scgm.my OK。打从我们上市那一天，我们就有一个宗旨，每赚到的1块钱，我们会拿48%的出来做股息分还给我们的股东。分股息的已经来到了第13年了，时间真的快。小弟在2008年2月份上市啊。所以一转眼13年了，也要在这边谢谢所有的股东们啊，尤其肯拿哥的股东们，谢谢你们。那么未来的展望最重要，我们公司会尽量朝向全自动化的生产，才会降低我们一些成本，然后最重要的全自动化的机台生产出来的品质产品的品质一定会比较好，而且它不良率也非常低。那么也让了国外国内的客户们都很认同，所以我们还会更加注意开发海外市场。我们有信心未来的季度都会有2位数的增长了。那么在这边也要谈到 ESG 了。那 ESG 对社会的贡献，我相信股友们也很想了解公司在 ESG 做出什么贡献了。那么其实钱我们要赚，也要回归社会。那么记得起之社会，回以社会啦，回归以社会。这个细节，待会就由我的同事 David 跟大家来分享。接下来由我的弟弟李富源来跟大家分享这些产品。那么听完我这个分享，记得没有买卖的建议啊！各位买卖股票自负盈亏，买股票一定有赚，也有可能会亏啊！这个风险治理。那么感恩大家的宝贵时间 ，and thanks to all attend Can Trade member. Thanks 啊 ，OK， 拜拜。Thank you. Okay. Finish.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Dato Sri, for this wonderful opening remarks. So I think next we would like to invite Dato Sri Lee Hock Guan to share with us the products.
大家晚上好，我是大多斯利。现在由我来介绍公司最佳产品。我们的 R&D 部门一直研发新的高品质、高质量、美观耐用的新产品。 第一款我要介绍，第一款是我们的外卖盒。目前疫情严重，不能堂食，我们只能选择外卖，所以就需要新的包装来确保食物完好无损送到消费者手上，在途中不会接触外界污染。我们这一次推出这2款产品，不止方便，还能重复使用。这是 Bento Box 来的 ，OK。另一款的是我们是 ，sorry。Tamper-proof， 什么是 Tamper-proof？ 相信大家一定很陌生。Tamper-proof 包装的目的是让消费者购买之前确保安全无污染的。我们这一款具备了特别的设计，前方关上后就打不开的，需通过后方打开。产品的后方设计有一道被撕下来才能打开，一旦撕下就不能复原了。这个设计可以让消费者确认他们的产品完好无损，这是我们的产品的质量保证。目前我们这一款主要是以外销为主，比如澳洲、纽西兰和东南亚。这个我可以 share 给大家看，这个盖了下去，我们很难开的，一般上都是一样。而且我们后面有个特殊的东西，撕了就可以打开了，从后面。对不起，好，这个很特别。然后另一款的是我们6620，这一款是我们经过新的技术和新的产品，这款产品可以更快速关好。我们之前的旧款需要双手关上才能关好，经过我们的改良，现在只需单手就可以做好了，这些东西它的密度也很高，滴水不漏，还能延长食物的食用期。这个是你看，我们可以示范，一个手就可以关上了。假如旧的，这个是我们旧款的，我们双手盖都不下，你看很容易打开，所以必须要花很长的时间。而且这一款很特别，你看滴水不漏我们已经做到很密度很高了。下来是我们要介绍我们的双色产品。市面上一般上的产品都是透明的，看到吗？这是透明的盒子不够特殊。我们引进了新的设备和技术，研发了一种新的双色片材，这个是我们的双色片材，从我们的拉片 extrusion 做出来的双色片材，所以我们有了双色产品。这个是我们的双色产品，而且打开它是一体的，一般上都是分开的。SCGM 是目前大马唯一一家拥有这样的技术公司。SCGM 一直不断创新，研发新的产品，也一直在进步中。为了提供更优质的产品给大家。以上就是我的产品介绍。各位如果对我们的产品感兴趣，想了解更多，可以联系我们。谢谢大家，谢谢。
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sri, for sharing with us your products. So next, we will like to invite the Investor Relations and Sustainability Director, Mr. David Cheng, to present to us FCGM financial highlights and also their ESG practices going forward. Over to you, David.
Okay, hi, good morning, good evening, everybody, and thank you, TankTrade, for inviting us to present this business outlook and sustainability practice going forward. And let me introduce myself. I'm David. I'm the IR and Sustainability Director for this SCGM Bhd. So let us look at the results for our fourth quarter results. As you can see on the screen, the fourth quarter revenue, we actually achieved 65.7 million, Out of the 65.7 million, 55.6 million actually goes to our F&B segmentation. Our PPE contributed about 700,000, and of course, our exclusion contributed about 5.4 million. As compared to our preceding year, it was an actual increase of 44.8%. I'm sorry. Sorry, just a minute. Something is wrong with the.
Okay, no problem.
With the. Okay, sorry about that. Now, for our segmentation within our local and export market, our local market contributed about 70% of our revenue, whereas our export market contributed about 30% of our revenue. And for our fourth quarter, we actually added on about 33 new local customers. And our sales for our fourth quarter has actually increased by 46.6%. Whereas our export revenue, we actually increased by 7.8%. And we have added 4 new international customers, mainly from Fiji Island, Pakistan, India, and Taiwan. Our financial highlights, if you look at our growth, it's basically more on F&B packaging. And of course, our margins are getting better due to our operational efficiency. And we can say that for FY 2021, our full year, we have actually achieved 246.5 million. That's an increase of 17.1%. Our EBITDA, well, we have got an EBITDA of 55.1 million. That's an increase of 55.3%. Whereas our EBITDA margins, we have increased by 33.9%. And why do we have an increase of our margins? Because we have a favorable sales mix. Our operating costs are lower because we actually consolidated most of our plants into one factory. And of course, we have the contribution from the PPE as well as the overall sales in F&B packaging. And we can say that this is our best net profit ever for the FY 2021 due to higher revenue, better sales mix packaging, lower interest, and of course, reduced operating expenses. So as you can see that our revenue, our PBT is 37.1%, an increase of almost 133.8% as compared to last year. Our cash positioning has improved as well. It's about 46.7 million on the free cash flow. If our balance sheet, our total asset, we have an increase from 298 million to 306 million due to our new plant and new capex machines. Our gearing has actually gone down from 0.53 to 0.32 times. And our borrowings as well has actually gone down from 95.4 million to 74.4 million due to the lower interest rates. Our business outlook and growth strategies. Well, let me see. Because of the new norm of business, food delivery and e-commerce, rising hygiene and consumer safety concerns have actually raised business opportunities for our food packaging. Online food deliveries in Malaysia has projected to reach 267 million. That's about 1.12 billion ringgit in year 2021. And this is all due to an increased demand for food containers packaging. And of course, it actually works well for us because we are actually supplying the containers basically for all the food processing companies, hawker centers, food outlets, and who does a lot of packaging. Well, the pandemic has opened a new norm for us in our business. And this is something that has led to our rapid growth of our business. Now, if you look at the Malaysian e-commerce value, higher demand will definitely translate to higher growth for packaging needs. Packaging is no longer a luxury, but it's a necessity. As you look at the chart, the e-commerce value from FY 2021 was about 36.1 billion. By year 2024, it's expected to increase 51.6 billion. That's an increase of almost 48%. If you look at the growth rates, of course, it has gone down, but then again, it still tapers off between about 10%. What is our roadmap for marketing strategy over the next, since we started in 2015, we actually participated in the wholesale market, and to gain market share and brand awareness, we have actually increased our revenue from 106 million to 179 million within a 3 years period. From 2018 to 2020, we started migrating to our new plant. We improved our technology. We moved a lot of our machines towards automation. That has actually increased our revenue from 179 to 219 million. Now, where are we going to go after 2020 to 2023? Definitely, we'll be looking into increased market share into the markets that we have not participated, primarily into the producers market, the grocers market, as well as the OEM manufacturing market. We also be looking into high-end margin products by looking into product technologies, improve our sustainability packaging, and of course, we also look into automation. So hopefully with these effects, we will increase our revenue from 219 million up to 320 to 350 million by 2023, and while maintaining a 2-digit profit margin. These are some of the products that you see in the market. Some of our lunch boxes, our degradable lunch box, which is our patented Opsium technology. We have the cups, and we have the OPS trays and the fruit trays as well. And if you look at some of the food packagings that we have ready meal trays, salad bowls, tamper-evident trays as presented by Dr. Sri Lee Hock Guan just now. We have baking trays, snack foods, catering, and all types of trays that is suitable for F&B. Whereas on our medical products, we have the face shield, the ear probes, the face masks, the kidney trays, and so on. Now, where do we go from here? How are we going to improve our growth strategy? And what is our business outlook? As Dr. Sri Lee Hock Guan has mentioned, we have actually developed trays like tamper-proof. We have developed trays like leak-proof. And of course, we have trays that is also leak-proof. As you can see here, it doesn't really leak at all. And all this will actually extend the freshness of the products or the producer's products in the market. SCGM will continue to invest more in the research and development for packaging. And we are also looking forward into doing an in-demand printing design for customers directly from the production itself. These are some of the latest technology in meat packaging that we are planning to explore. And why? Because this is actually an absorbent oxygen microvalve tray, whereby the food will last longer, delivery transport is easier, and of course, it actually conserves more space when you actually transport this sort of products in the market. These are some products that you can see in our Lulu supermarket. If you go to Lulu supermarket today, you can see a lot of our products being packed on cookies, bakeries, grocers, and so on. This is some of the models that we have been currently been focusing on. And look at the models. These are some of the USA models that we are primarily working on right now. So it actually will contribute to about 800,000 per month for revenue. These models are not in effect yet. It's still in the R&D stage. These are some of the USA models as well, the black and green models. All right, these models will contribute about $1 million per month. And these are some of the models that Dr. Sri Lee Hock Guan has mentioned earlier, the 2-color trays, as you can see. These are some of our local customers, and I'm sure most of you would have noticed the names of those customers like Nestle, Car1 Food, Daily Fresh, Hua Tai, Julie, and of course, there are many more others. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that SCGM is actually moving towards automation, and we have actually decided to move and expedite the automation due to the manpower. And because of that, we have actually invested a lot in the last 6 months by purchasing new machines and getting more high-speed cutting machines, stacker machines, packing machines, and of course, wrapping machines. As you can see on the screen, we have these automatic stretch film machines that actually have already arrived and actually reduces the manpower from 3 to 1. Wrapping speed has actually been increased to 5 minutes per pallet instead of 10 minutes per pallet. And bear in mind that SCGM actually exports or uses more than several thousand, few hundred of pallets per day. So if you look at automatic cup lid production packing machine as well, we reduce the manpower from 5 to 2, increases our production capacity. And if you look at some of the high-speed machine that arrived in August and November this year, it's only 2 workers. We increased our cutting and stacking capacity to 158,000 units per day compared to earlier of 72,000. And of course, this will give you better products, better locking system. And all this will reduce the reliance on low-skilled laborers as well as improve our production efficiency over the period of time. And as we move further, SCGM will be also looking into IoT 4.0, data migration, data crunching numbers, and of course, we will be looking into more on robotics and automation as well. Now, nothing comes without paying a price. So SCGM has always kept in mind that ESG is always an important element, and SCGM has always practiced ESG for the last 4 years already. So what have we done? Now, if you look at our first report, which was done in 2000, our sustainability report, which was actually done in 2017, we actually developed a system called SASP. SASP was actually known as SCGM Sustainability Performance Index, whereby we identify our material metrics, and we actually decided to adopt the 3 pillars, which is people, planet, and prosperity. So this is how we work on our ESG. And I'm proud to say that today SCGM is a member of the FTSE4Good Index since 2019. Now, looking into it, this is our ESG rating from our FTSE Russell Index for the year of 2019. We scored a point of 2.3. And for the year 2020, we actually increased our points to 2.6. Of course, we will try to work harder. We will try to increase our points much further this year. Second thing, we have also put in a board diversity policy whereby we will have a 40% gender diversity on board, women on board. So we have actually achieved that, and currently our women diversity on board is 42.8%. That's something that SCGM is very proud of. On top of that, women at executive level, we are proud to say that our women at executive level is close to 30%. We are planning to increase this ratio to 40% over the next 2 years. The women comes mainly from the quality department, sales department, admin and purchasing department, and our talent retention and acquisition department. So this is how SCGM practices gender diversity and, of course, fair labor policies. This is something that we work on our corporate governance, on anti-corruption, and how we actually to have every employee, regardless of level, trained on the anti-corruption. And we understand that every employee will have to undergo a short competency exam in the language of their choice. So over in SCGM, we do offer in 7 languages: Myanmar, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bahasa, Chinese, English, and of course, Mandarin. This is something that is very close to our heart. And this is something that we have been practicing since last year. We actually do audit on our suppliers, basically on ESH, labor and environment. And we are proud to say that 90% of the suppliers actually conform with our audit and sustainability guidelines requirement. This is our human rights. whereby we actually give our workers the fair rights. We actually built 2 blocks of hostel for our staff. And SCGM invested more than 8 million in 2018-2019 to upgrade its staff quarters. Currently, our staff quarters have also obtained the JKK license. Our cafeterias and of course our workers' dorm and all has been shown here. And we're actually promoting sustained and inclusive sustainability, productive employment and decent work for everybody. This is one of the annual trips that we have done in 2018 for all our staff. But of course, this is an every 2 years event, but because due to COVID, we have to postpone it. So we'll plan it when things are back to normal. And this is our forward thinking and how are we addressing the human rights, diversity, and environment. Now, looking at that diversity in key management board, the process already started in April 2021. We expect the process to be completed by 2023, whereby we have a transition and retirement of existing board members over a 3 years period. We plan to achieve a minimum target of 40% women on executive board. And of course, we also started on our execution succession planning as well. That's why if you can see in KIC announcement, Ms. Lily Chong is actually our alternate chairman as part of our succession planning. And if you look at the human rights, we plan to subscribe to the United Nations Global Impact. We will try to improve our human rights image, domestic and foreign workers working at SCGM. SCGM has really set the standards above and beyond the human rights, but we plan to improve that even further by promoting healthy cultures. And we will actually plan to include and intensify all trainings to all staff regardless of nationality, so that even if our foreign workers or our foreign staff goes back to their hometown, they do have some basic trainings or qualifications that they can actually use when they get back home. We also plan to have some environment challenges to reduce our dependency on energy, exploring alternative energy such as solar panels and things like that. Currently, we are working on our policies on Scope 1 and Scope 2 technologies on how to reduce our dependency on Scope 1. Climate changes on Uni 5, we have actually started working with Ellen MacArthur Foundation to explore new ways on new plastic economy. We try to participate in some of the world events to understand what are the impending regulations. And I'm proud to say that SCGM today is a member of the Malaysian Plastic Manufacturing Association. And they do have a very strong team to work on the sustainability. And of course, we also try to understand what are the opportunities and benefits that actually can be derived from the new plastic economy. Now, how is SCGM transforming to be an independent, extended producer responsibility? This is something that we give a lot of thought, and it's something that's very new to us, but it is something that is also very difficult to achieve. But we do believe with our collaborations with multiple public and private uses, we do believe that we can achieve to be an extended producer responsibility. And how are we going to do that? By our working collaboration with the University of Nottingham. So currently, we are actually looking into conversion of landfill plastic waste to construction materials. We also study alternative compostable raw materials as opposed to resins to manufacture food packaging such as seaweed, starch, organic food waste, and etc. Exploration of new plastic materials to provide further impetus to develop 21st century new packaging materials. For example, as I mentioned earlier, we talk about the absorption of oxygen on packaging and so on. And of course, as part of our collaboration, we would like all SCGM staff to pursue their MBA or degrees or even executive education courses and exchanging of technical information and so on by enhancing academic and industrial standards. This is something that SCGM is very proud, and we are actually encouraging all our staff to up their standards by going for master's degree, or even for those who are having their, I would say, high schools, they can actually pursue certifications of diplomas at the higher levels. And of course, all these will come with our competency gap. Wages will be increased, and so on. And we are also looking into circular economy, how to use our products as long as possible, as many cycle lives as possible. Some of these products that you see today can actually be reused again and again. It's not necessarily just a single-use plastic. All right. And one of the most things that SCGM has done since 2017, we were the very first to develop the first degradable plastic using oxium. This was a patented technology from Green Hope, Park Sujanto Kenjo. And currently, we are still producing a degradable plastics. And we are proud to say that SCGM today has obtained the eco-labeling certification as well from CRIM. And of course, with that, I will end my speech. I will hand back over to you, Sean. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. David, for sharing with us your company's financial highlights and also the ESG practices going forward. So, David, you have a poll to launch. Do you want to launch it now?
Yes. Please.
Right. Okay, let me launch the poll. So there are 3 questions to answer this poll. In this poll, yeah, the poll should be shown out on your screen already. Okay, please take a minute. Maybe you just do half a minute. David, before this session, right, you told me that you have an amazing offer you want to give to our Kentrade clients and also our attendees today. Would you want to tell us what it is? Okay, I think the management is getting ready for Q&A.
Yes. Sean will be sending you the link on the chat group. We are actually offering our face mask for attendees today at $10 per box for the KPM brand series. So just fill up the Google form and we will send you the details.
Yeah, so protect ourselves and the loved ones. So wear face masks. Okay. So in a short while, I'm putting in the order form from SCGM. Okay. So yeah, this is just the special bonus for our Kentrade webinar attendees today. All right. So I encourage you to grab the offer. All right. So I think we have got more than 60% of them answer the poll already. So for those of you, for all of you here who have questions to want to ask the senior management at SCGM, please write your question in the Q&A box. All right. So write in the Q&A box. Of course, appreciate it. You can write in full sentences so that we can understand your question. All right. Of course, due to time constraint, we may not be able to answer all questions. So we want to apologize first if your questions is not selected. All right. So. All right, so yeah, I have concluded the poll. So maybe share the result a bit, okay? So before the pandemic, I think 58% of attendees, right, go out to tapao or take away less than 3 times a week. After the pandemic, I think a drastic increase during the pandemic, okay, drastic increase in tapao, okay, in buy out and take away. And then for question number 3, we see that 98% is would lend support in your bid to support your effort in achieving in your circular economy goals. So that is the result. All right. Okay, so let me quickly go over to the question and answer. We have got many questions here. We are waiting to address to the management. So I've seen several questions asking about your order post pandemic. Okay, so let me just sum up. Okay, now currently a lot of packaging announced are used to pack food for delivery. Now following the end of this pandemic, there will be a reduction requirement for such packaging. So how is your company planning to replace the loss of these sales with other products and services?
We do believe that the packaging will continue to increase, even though post-pandemic. Reason being is because the lifestyle has changed. People has already got accustomed to packaging. And tapao-ing is just not one of our main business. Another segment of our business is actually the producers, the grocers market. When you go and buy meat, or when you buy chicken, or when you buy vegetables, when you buy your tomatoes, everything uses trays. And that business is going to be another major segment of our business. So food packaging of tapao-ing is just one segment, but the major segment comes from the intermediary markets, for example, fresh and vegetables and so on, producer markets and so on. So we do believe that this market will continue to rise further.
Okay. There are also a few questions on asking about the plan going forward, because plastic will soon be replaced by more environmental friendly materials. So so they would like to know, like, how will SCGM address this issue? Will SCGM venture into non-plastic products in the future?
Okay. I'm proud to say that SCGM has actually ventured into biodegradable products more than 10 years ago. We started trying out this technology about 10 years ago, but the technology did not work out because at that point in time, biodegradable was not something that people can accept. And we wanted to try out with our new machines and whether our existing machines is able to cater if we switch from plastic to biodegradable. So this is something that we have already done. And we are proud to say that we managed to do it with oxium. We managed to do it with PLA, cornstarch, or sugarcane. So if there's a need for us to switch our products from plastic to bio-based, SCGM can able to switch it anytime without any additional capex. It all depends on the demand, actually.
Okay. So the next question is, how do you see SCGM's competitive edge among all your peers?
Well, there are only about a handful of players in the market. I mean, when you talk about thermoforming packaging, there's probably only about a handful of players in the market. And when I talk about that, it's about the bigger size one, not those one or two machines. I mean, when you talk about SMEs, micro businesses, there are many. But when you talk about something of a similar size, there are just a handful of players in the market. We work well with each other. All right. SCGM is not able to supply to the entire market. So sometimes our competition is actually our complementary business as well. Because sometimes they do buy certain things from us as well. So we actually work together.
Okay, so what is SCGM market share in this plastic packaging industry?
I don't really have an official number, but based on our resin purchase, it's between 40 to 50%.
Okay. The next question is asked by Jefferson. It appears that SCGM profit margin is relatively higher than your peers despite their size. So what is the reason for this, and how the management is ensuring that the profit will remain high going forward?
Well, there is no certainties. Yes, the profit margin is high compared to our peers. I do admit that. And one of the main reasons is because I'm proud to say both our directors who are very hands-on in the business, they have actually developed, we save costs, we increase our automation, we improve our economies of scale. We relook at all our leakages within the industry, and that's how we actually managed to maintain our profit margin. And of course, I mean, if you compare cost of goods with every other industry, it's the same. But one of the key advantages that SCGM has today is because we have our own CNC department. We produce almost everything in-house, with the exception of packaging materials like carton boxes and so on. So other than that, everything is produced in-house. And that's how we manage to maintain our costs. We control our costs. And of course, I would like to also say that Dato Sri Lee Hock Sing and Dato Sri Hock Guan, and of course, Dato Sri Lee Hock Chai, who is not here today, they are hands-on in the production as well in the administrative of the whole company. And we look at our numbers every day.
Okay, that's good. I just want to point out to Dato Sri. So if you'd like to answer any questions, you let us know. You can add on, and then of course I will do my best to help to translate the English, okay, for our audience today. Is it okay?
David can answer, then I will leave it to him.
Oh, David will take all questions. Okay. All right. The next question is, there is a participant asking, why did the operation cash flow turn negative in 2019? And what were the actions taken to resolve this?
Why?
Why? Expansion.
It's because of the expansion plans. We actually invested a lot into our capex, close to 100 million. From 2018, 2019, we invested quite a fair bit into our capex. And at that point in time, we were moving our plant from the old plant, consolidating from KL, consolidating from the Figo plant, consolidating from the old plant. And so it took us almost a year to move our entire, to consolidate our plant into this current plant today. And so now we are already at a very stable level. And our effort today is actually more on sales. Ramping up the production, meeting up the production utilization, improving our sales, improving our export markets, as well as what Dato Sri Lee Hock Guan has mentioned also, to improve our product designs, to relook into our designs of our products, remove those obsolete ones. And all this investment has actually paid off. And that's why you're seeing the margins today. And that's why you're seeing our cash flows have been improved a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Since you have relocated to new factory in Kulai, right, and you consolidated various plants into one factory, so the question asked by Raj Kumar is, what are the profit margin going forward?
Well, I can't really force to say what is going to be our margin like, but we will strive to maintain a double-digit margin based on our current practices.
Okay, understand. Now we know that the oil and gas price has climbed up quite high. I think stabilized around $70 and above US dollar per barrel. So how does this impact your raw material costs? This is asked by Evelyn.
Yeah, I can answer you this one.
Okay, like Dato Sri.
Remember, raw material is supply and demand, especially this FNCO or all this, like this COVID, I think every corner also they got COVID. So operation were a lot of operation down. So supply will be oversupply. So demand extra from last month and this month, our resin all the time is going down again. So you can see this coming quarter, our profit margin still got upstrength. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sri.
All remember lah, raw material resin is supply and demand. If the demand is higher than supply, the price will go up. When you see the oil price go up, then it will go up. But on demand less, the price won't go up one.
Okay, understand. Thank you so much, Dr. Sri.
Okay.
Daniel would like to ask the next question, which is, SCGM borrowing seems a bit too high compared to the cash balance, and it has not seen much improvements over the years. May I know why is this so, and any plan to become a net cash company?
Well, when we borrowed quite a fair bit in 2018, we actually used it to finance our building, our machines, purchase, and so on. We have already reduced quite substantially. We do expect to hit net cash within the next 3 to 5 years. Given if we manage to pay off our term loan during that period of time, within 3 to 5 years down the road. So, and of course, when we come to 3 to 5 years down the road, there's going to be another further expansion if the demand keeps on going at the way we are going now. Having debts is good actually, because it actually signifies that you're actually expanding. And this is something that we can always look forward to. And most importantly, we need to manage our debts well. And I believe my CFO, Mr. Ng Chai Huat, is doing a fantastic job on that. And because of that, we managed to reduce our gearing to 0.32 times from 0.53 the year before. And hopefully by next year, we can go down to 0.2 times. And of course, probably within 2 years to 3 years down the road, our company can turn to net cash position.
Okay. And I just want to remind all our attendees today, if you have any question to ask the management, please write in the Q&A box. Don't write in the chat box, okay? Write in the Q&A box so I can easily manage it.
There's one question that I'd like to address from Mr. Yao Lim Tan. How do SCGM address the environment concerns for plastic waste and the need for greater recyclability? Thank you. Mr. Liao Lim Tan. SCGM currently we do understand the concern for environmental concern for plastic waste. And that's the reason why we have started collaboration with University of Nottingham in order to address this issue. For information, we have also used a lot of recycled PET or rPET within our production process. And the need for recyclability, it very much depends on the national waste policy by the government. And I'm proud to say that SCGM today is also a member of the MPMA Association, whereby we will look into how we can improve our recyclability process moving forward. And it's also as part of our circular economy as well. Right, back to you, Sham.
Okay, thank you so much, David. Okay, the next question is by Jefferson. To what extent of the financial impact that SCGM suffered from the recent FMCO?
Well, judging from the numbers that we have, so far the impact would be very minimum. As mentioned earlier, the demand comes from delivery services. And one of the major demand actually came from the PVV center or those quarantine centers where we supply our trays. Imagine that if you have 1,000 people quarantined, 3 meals a day, that's 3,000 trays a day for 3 meals. And you times by that, there's a lot of trays and there's a lot of packaging that goes out to just one center alone. So the demand, relatively, we were not really affected by the MCO or pandemic. But of course, Dr. Sri can mention that the 60% capacity.
刚才在我的讲解中也有透露怎样去不要浪费资源，因为资源最大的成本。那68%我们就想尽办法用到它 full use 起来，也就等于可以去到80多个%的 output 出来了，也影响不大。我刚才讲的，我最重要我们会选那些比较有利润性质的，就好像我们做一些出口这样的 tamper-proof 的话，卖到澳洲去都会蛮好价的价位了。好。
OK，
跟这个还有一个，就2个颜色，有黑色有青色，都好多个颜色啦。因为在本地可能你们还没有什么看到了，因为这个都出口比较为主啊。那刚才有一个我看到什么 SCGM 出口美国人权的问题，我们还没有面对，而且美国的单子才开始不多，因为不多应该美国不会注重到我们，而且我们也是真的 fulfill 所有的人权的问题，童工非法或者是什么，我们一概都不做，也不去冒这个险。到目前为止，我可以大胆的跟你们分享，我们公司里面一个非法外劳都没有，就是童工更不用谈了。谢谢你关心。
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sri. So let me translate for a bit.
Yes, okay.
So what this is for the benefit of all our non-Chinese friends here. What Dr. Sri was saying is that there is the SCGM is doing their best to reduce wastage, so they are trying to maximize on all the human resources available that are allowed to operate inside the factory. So for the 60% capacity, they have done their best to prioritize on the high margin products, so that they can still deliver, at least 80% of the output that can deliver the results to the company. And for the export to the US market, of course SCGM doesn't have any concern on that, because so far SCGM is compliant to all the labor human rights issue I've presented just now. There's not any single illegal foreign labor here in SCGM, as not to even mention about child labor. Okay, so all foreign labors here are totally legal, so of course they don't have any issue exporting to the US market.
I would like to add on
minimum wages.
I would like to add on to that. Most of our foreign workers who are with us, the average wages is already more than 2,000 basic pay. Number one. Number two, I would say that almost 20% of our foreign workers today are trained with CPR, first aid kit. They've been given proper trainings. They've been given language classes. They've been given trainings on many aspects in order to make them to understand our work culture and so on. So with each training, they are actually being rewarded as well. And this is something that we try, as I mentioned earlier, we'll try to encourage them to attend more trainings by our training and development department, and how to improve further. Of course, when it comes to accommodation, we have already met the necessary requirement of the Act 466. And we will further improve our foreign laborers And today our foreign labors, we do not really call them foreign staff or foreign labors anymore, because in our company, we actually call them as a staff. We no longer call them orang asing, or we don't call them pekerja asing. We don't call them anything like that anymore. Today, they're all our staff, regardless of nationality. Of course, because of the pandemic, we cannot hold events based on the national day of their country. But if we can do that, we wish to do that as well. Especially when they have a national day or any celebration, the company will actually celebrate them together with them. This is something that we try to improve over the period. And of course, we try to make it better. Back to you, Sean.
Okay, thank you so much, David. So the next question is regarding to the models that you have shared just now. So when is the estimated timeline that these products will start contributing to the top and the bottom line of the company? Has there been any orders received for these products?
We have already got some tentative orders, but most of these models will need rigorous testings, quality controls, inspections, certifications, and so on. So it's going to take some time. And most of these products, when we pass through all the initial tests, it will probably take about at least 3 to 6 months.
Okay. Thank you so much, David. The next question is asked by Ming Chong. How much is SCGM projected capex for the subsequent years, in particular 2022 and also 2023?
Okay, for this year, we have already projected 20 million. All right, for FY 2021, 2022, we already projected 20 million. For the following next 2 years, it will very much depends on our growth strategy, on where or how much growth we are going to achieve. We will invest accordingly. So as for right now, I can't really say that. Give you a very fixed number how much capex we are going to pump in. But definitely, we are looking at replacing our older machines. We are moving into automation. So but those capex are not large.
Okay, I see. So the next question is, we have seen several questions on queries about your old factory. Since you have moved to a new factory in Kulai, right? So what happened to the old factory? Has there been any usage?
Temporary for warehouse only.
For warehousing only, lah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to say thank you, Daniel. I saw your question when you say you came back to Malaysia in January during the quarantine period. The hotel are actually using SCGM containers. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we do supply to a lot of our trays to the quarantine centers. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay.
This is a tray that we actually supply to the quarantine centers. The 4 compartment.
3 to 4.
And of course, also the 3 compartment as well.
These 2 models, yes, the top sales are.
Top sales. I heard Dr. Sri say top sales.
We are talking about more than 20 million pieces.
Okay. Andy would like to ask the next question. While your company is researching on more eco-friendly packaging, are there plans to have a recyclable center or program to help collect your packaging and reduce impact to the landfills?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are working with the University of Nottingham on how to work out a more viable solution. Because in Malaysia, we do not have a national waste policy system. So, and everybody takes care of their own. It's something that's very difficult for us to go and get into it, and we can't really develop a recycle center because our products are sold throughout the entire country. So that's the reason why we are working with University of Nottingham on how to develop taking the plastic trays from the landfill and move it into something and convert it into something else, especially for construction materials like pavement roads, bricks, and of course, many other non-edible products that can be used in the construction sector. So we are actually working on that right now. And we probably hope that we can announce it within probably about 6 to 9 months from now.
Okay, thank you.
And this is something that is very difficult for us to answer you because at present moment, we don't practice the concept of 3R or 4R.
Okay, understand. Thank you so much, David. Ming Chong would like to ask next question, which is for your PPE segment. May I know what are the gross profit or EBITDA margin?
This one, I think I will need to get my CFO to answer me.
Oh, okay. The CSO is around, is it?
40?
Yes.
Yes. It's about 40%.
40%.
PPE.
Okay. PPE is 40% gross profit margin, or is it EBITDA margin?
Gross profit margin.
Okay.
If say last year, just starting the face mask, the margin is very high. Now
50?
they already stable price already.
And today, I think you also give away a special price for our audience today. So if you like
Okay, welcome.
Yeah, if you like to order from SCGM, only 10 ringgit per box for our attendees today, okay? Order form, later I copy and paste that again. Is there any limit with how many person can buy how many boxes? There's some
No limit.
You can buy 100 boxes.
You can become my agent, go and sell to all factory.
Okay, all right. The next question is, let me pick the next question. What is your utilization rate for your current production line, and how do you plan to increase the utilization rate in the next 3 to 5 years? This question is by Galvin Lai.
Okay, back to our normal time already, our utilization rate is about almost 70-75%. Right now, our utilization rate is about between 55 to 60%. So how do we plan to increase? Of course, you need to understand that with
Now should wait for this COVID.
we need to actually go back to our normal life, then we can actually increase. And when the economy is more open up, or when our workers' capacity, or when we move to phase 2, where we have 80% of the workforce, of course, we can actually ramp up the utilization rate. But what is most important here is that what has this COVID taught us, as what Dato Sri has mentioned earlier, was that COVID has taught us something that's very valuable. How to improve our efficiency in times like this. How do we actually focus and be very focused on our product sales mix and improve our margins. This is something that what we have learned during this pandemic. And it's a very valuable lesson to all of us. And this is something, of course, with that, we will definitely take this experience and we move forward to our next growth.
Okay, thank you, David. The next question is asked by Ngo Chi Siak, if I pronounce your name correctly. What is your outlook for the overseas market?
Well, how should I put it? Okay, first and foremost, we are not able to travel. So we are only relying on our existing customers to sell our export market. And of course, once things are back to normal, I will probably presume by end of this year, things will actually go back to normal. When with the strong and courageous KKM frontliners, the PBV centers, they have started vaccination and we have achieved herd communities. And when traveling is more, and when we can travel, I believe the export market is something that we can actually focus on. Or meaning that to actually improve to improve new clients, getting in new customers, and so on.
Okay. So in regards to the raw material cost, right? Now, in the event that there is any hike in terms of raw material cost, do you pass on the cost to your customers or you absorb it?
Well,
Just last few months.
I believe that we have already announced in Bursa, in our last few announcements, we have actually increased our cost 7 times when the resin price started going up. And till date, whenever there's a resin price increase across the board, we definitely have to pass on the cost to the consumer, to the customers. But it will depend on the percentage that we pass on.
Okay. I
Because
understand.
we don't sign with any customer long-term pricing, PO by PO only.
All right. Understand. So, so the hike in raw material cost does not impact SCGM that much, because you can effectively pass on the cost to your
something like
customers.
that.
Yes.
Right. The next question is asked by KY. So does SCGM use recycled resin for any products? If yes, how much is the percentage between recycled and virgin resin usage?
很 sensitive 嘞，这个。
This is
Okay. Actually, we do use rPET as part of our process. Recycle PET resins as part of our process. But sadly to say that I will not be able to disclose these numbers because it's something that we want to, because it's part of our company's.
Very sensitive.
It's pretty sensitive.
secret.
Yeah.
Trade secret.
But I can tell you that yes, we have used a lot of recycled PETs in our production.
We got sell the resin shipping to overseas. Their request 100% also have. Depend customer lah. So we cannot disclose in here.
Okay, no worries. We fully understand it.
Excuse, sorry.
Yeah, no issue. Okay, now if the switch is made from plastic to fully biodegradables based on consumer demand, as you mentioned, how will this affect your profit margins? So this question by Madeline.
Well, if there's a demand across the board, I mean, when there's a massive demand, not just specific customer, all right, the profit margin will definitely be higher because biodegradable cost is always between 300 to 500% or 3 times to 5 times higher than the normal plastic price. Therefore, the margin was definitely going to be higher. But till today, it's very difficult to achieve mass usage on biodegradable products. We have tried that. We have failed miserably. Imagine 10 years ago when we supplied our PLA trays to the US, we lost almost 100,000 ringgit because we didn't know how to pack the trays. We didn't know the trays are so fragile. So when we went to the US, the trays all be turned into dust. All right, and there's so many things that we have to learn on biodegradable, but it's something that we have took this experience lesson, and today we are ready. If we need to switch to biodegradable, our team has already prepared, and we are ready to switch anytime.
Okay, understand it. Eugene would like to ask next question, which is now, what is the expected growth rate for SCGM in terms of sales and profits for the next 3 years?
For growth rate, I believe I'm looking at an average for 20%.
20% a year?
Yeah.
For sales or profit?
For sales.
For
sales, profit,
lah.
I guess is corresponding accordingly.
Wow, 20% a year is very high number.
Yes. It's very high number because we do believe, as I mentioned in my slides earlier, the online delivery service is picking up. The lifestyle packaging is picking up. Producers, fruit and vegetables market, even your Selayang Pasar Borong is using our trays. So you can imagine that where the demands are coming from.
So there have been lifestyle changes that will possibly impact your business.
Yes. Just for
刚才讲的就是说，这个疫情改变，生活改变，也带来给 SCGM 很多商机哦。是你怎样去感觉？记得各位投资家或者是什么，记得耳朵要很灵，听到一个风吹草动，你要有感应，不要等到那个浪过了，你才感觉太迟了。好，谢谢你们。
Okay, understand it. Thank you so much, Dr. Sri. So what Dr. Sri was saying is that these lifestyle changes caused by COVID-19 has delivered enormous benefits to SCGM. And of course, as a business person, we need to be sensitive to what are the things happening, latest development in the market, so that we won't be able to seize any opportunities that arise from it. So yeah. Let me pick the next question.
Going to 10 o'clock.
Give me a minute. Now, what happened? Okay, so you do, SCGM is involved in the export market. So the next question is, what will happen to your forex currency exposure if US dollar go up or go down? Is it good or bad to the company?
Well, we do not hedge our currency until today. Our bosses, Dato' Sri, and even my CFO, we don't hedge our currency. So we were actually based on spot rate. And whenever, even if the currency is up, it's good for us. Foreign exchange gain. If it's down, we will adjust our price.
Okay. So if US dollar strengthen, it will be good for you. If the US dollar weakens, then you adjust, you revise your price upward.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. If you don't mind sharing, what are the export markets of SCGM? So this is asked by Teck Kyong.
Well, currently we supply to more than 24 countries. Our primary market is still Australia, Philippines, New Zealand, Singapore, of course, and of course, New Zealand as well. Our new countries will be countries from Chile, India, Taiwan, India as well, Africa last year for Nigeria. And then, of course, we are also, these are the few other countries that we are currently exporting to.
Okay. James would like to ask the next question. What is your expansion plan for the next few years? Any specific segment of your business you feel that have strong growth potential?
Oh yes, I love this question actually. Our expansion plan, as I mentioned earlier, we are actually focusing on the producers market, fresh and grocers market, OEM manufacturers, as well as markets that's related to vegetables, fruits, nuts, fish, meat, and so on. That will be our next growth of market.
Okay. The next question is in Mandarin. So let me read it and then I'll translate later. Okay. Now, the question is: SCGM 有出口去中国吗？有能力与内陆竞争性吗？成本有比中国生产成本低吗？ So the question is asking whether does SCGM export to China, and do you have any competitive advantage to compete with the Chinese players?
其实到目前为止啦，公司还没有计划跨境中国啦。假如据我们所知道调查的啦，沿海一带的制造成本呢，已经不会便宜过马来西亚。第二，原料是国际性，中国原料也是跟国际一样挂钩的，只是说我们还没有办法把中国当做一个开发的国家先，因为毕竟龙的传人啊比较不简单。我的answer就这么样。
Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Sri. So what Dr. Sri was saying is that at the moment, there's no plan to penetrate the Chinese market because as far as SCGM has researched, the production costs in those cities that's nearby the shore, that means probably, I think would be those that along the coastline, like Shanghai, Guangzhou, those areas.
The cost is high.
Yeah, I'm not so cheap lah. So that's why it is not so easy to penetrate the Chinese market. And the second thing is the suppliers are also international. So that's why there's no need to be in to penetrate the Chinese market for the moment due to the challenging operating landscape there.
There's still a lot of overseas can go lah.
Yeah. There's still more overseas market that they can focus on aside from China. All right.
There's a question that I'd like to answer.
Yeah, please.
From David Lau, the expected 20% annual growth in future, would it be majority from overseas sales? And what's the ideal ratio of overseas versus local sales? Prior to 2015, 2016, our sales ratio was almost 50-50 between our overseas market and local market. And because when we move, in my slide, I actually showed that when we move and penetrate into the wholesale market, that's where our local sales has actually increased tremendously. The ideal ratio will most likely be between 60-40 or 55-45. And that is something that we will actually focus on. But you need to understand that as the volume gets increased, when you move towards to 300 million or 500 million or even 1 billion sales, there's only so much that the local market can absorb. Anything further, you have to move to export already. Because you know that from 2021, the online delivery demand was only about 1.12 billion. All right, comprises of all kinds of packaging from A to Z. But as we move towards into the producers market, the grocers market, we believe the demand will be there. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. Ryan would like to ask the next question, which is, what is your company's next main milestone after this relocation of the factory and the expansion plan?
Well, the next main milestone is to tackle the challenges in regards to MITI's curb on foreign staff. Because by 2023, they will implement a policy of 80-20, 80 local, 20 foreign. So the next milestone for us is actually to move into automation, reduce reliance on foreign staff, expand our foreign staff or even local staff competency level, and more on, I would say more on automation as well, robotic systems, and so on. Yeah.
Okay. Let me go to the next question. The next question is asking about management planning. So is SCGM looking for young generation for the handover issue, as that didn't mention any second generation from the higher management team?
We have already started in my presentation. I mentioned that we already started the succession planning is already taking place right now. It's already in progress. The second generation is already coming in, and they have already started. I mean, they've already been working with us for many years. As mentioned, if you look at the Bursa announcement, Miss Lee, the eldest daughter of Dato Sri Lee Hock Seng, has already started her appointment as the alternate chairman. Subsequently, as we move forward, we will actually move on to the other departments as well. So yes, the succession planning is already in progress, but it will take us 3 years for us to fully complete the succession planning.
Okay. James Edwin would like to ask, what percentage of SCGM containers produced today are made of degradable plastic?
Sad to say that our degradable plastic contribute about 5% of our revenue.
5%, huh? Now, Kelvin would like to ask, does the management intend to continue on with the mass production post-COVID era? If not, how long more before these machine investments are able to break even?
Okay, I would like maybe I'll let Chairman
Okay.
Dato Sri answer.
Okay. Regarding mass investment, just now on my speech already, last year already make $8 to $9 million come back already. So the investment is very cheap. China, all is made from China. Already investment all get back already lah. As long as this COVID, how long will do? I think everyone believe lah. You should wear mask at least 1 more year lah. I don't think you can early than a year you can drop your mask. Because the vaccine until today 100%, unless our Malaysia all population have been do vaccine, then it's different things. Whether everyone also want to know whether vaccine will do or not until today is unknown. Okay, I believe our mask still at least everyone should wear 1 more year.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sri. So the machine have already paid back, huh? So
long ago,
Pay back many more times already.
pay back many more times already. Good to hear that. So all now profitable. Elaine would like to ask the next question. From your sharing, right, there's a heavy dependence on foreign labor in your business. So what is the ratio of foreign versus local labor?
I'm proud to say that our foreign versus local is only 60-40 at the present moment.
60% foreign, huh?
Yes. So with our automation, we are planning to reduce that even further within the next 2 years to less than 40%.
Okay. There are some participants who are interested in your eco-friendly packaging and asking whom can they liaise with. So
they can call our marketing department. They can actually speak to a few of our marketing department. Please send me an email, and I will direct you to the right person.
The best way.
Yeah, please.
okay.
So
Send direct to David Chang.
So,
and David Chang will take this job, hand over to the staff. Because we got KL staff, we got local staff.
Okay.
yeah. So please do send me an email if you have any queries. If you'd like to order anything, do send me an email, and I will direct you to the relevant staff to.
All right.
Sean, you can give them my email address.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Later, I'll put your email in the chat box. Okay.
Oh, you've done that already.
Yeah, I need to search your email address. Give me a minute. So Stanley would like to ask, any plan to give out higher dividends in the coming years?
Policy 40%. Make more money, give more dividends. Simple answer.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a minimum 40% policy.
Okay. The next question is asked by Adrian. So the amount of the waste plastic generated in Malaysia is not that high, as not all household or corporate companies segregate their waste to be recycled. How feasible is it recycle plastic as the price of plastic waste has gone up due to the demand is high now? Even some companies import plastic waste from overseas to recycle.
This one should clarify two types of waste.
Okay. First and foremost, we need to clarify there are two types of waste here. One is actually the plastic bag waste, the carrying bag, which currently is they are actually importing it from overseas and doing for recycling. Another one is actually container waste, which is actually a separate waste altogether. So at the present moment, we do not, as I mentioned earlier, the government does not have a comprehensive policy on how to treat the waste. So everything goes to the landfill. And why are people exporting it? Because importing it because it's a hassle to go to the landfill to segregate the waste, and because there's no proper system to actually segregate all the waste into one location and for people to do it. So it's going to take at least a couple of years more for the concept of 3R and 4R to take place in Malaysia.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, let me pick the next question. Do you have any plan to set up a factory in a foreign country?
At the present moment, we don't have any plans to set up any factory, provided if the country has contributed a significant amount of revenue, then we probably may consider, but at the present moment, no.
Okay. The next question is asked by Kawa. So since SCGM is a family-based business origin, so what will happen? Sorry, let me rephrase the question. So what will happen to your succession planning?
As I mentioned earlier, we are already migrating away from family-based to professional managed company. Currently, as part of our succession planning, we have already included Datuk Sri Lee Hock Sing's elder daughter, Miss Lee, as our alternate chairman. Moving forward, we have experienced management team like myself, who is not a member of the family, like my CFO, Mr. Chai Huat, who is not a member of the family, to run or to manage the company. Definitely, we will also have Datuk Sri Lee Hock Guan's experienced daughter to come in as well to manage the company. And of course, we will also hire external parties or professionals who are capable to run the company moving forward. And this is already part of our succession planning and is already in progress.
Okay, thank you, David. The next question is asked by Hyung Hao Hee. Has SCGM reached your maximum economies of scale? Could SCGM bring down the cost further as output increases?
Well, yes and no. It will depend on the product that we are marketing. For example, if you talk about these products, yes, we have already reached our economies of scale. But if you're talking about something like this, no, we don't. Because we have more than 8,000 SKU within our range of products. It will depend on which products that we are actually running on economies of scale. You need to understand that F&B packaging is a very diverse application. It comes from fish market, poultry market, cookies, bakeries, takeaways, and so many more other different types of markets as well. So not all markets can actually achieve economies of scale. But of course, if you look at bento lunch boxes, yes, we have already achieved our economies of scale. Our cost is already much lower. as compared to our couple of years ago. Okay, back to Shen.
Okay. The next question is asked by Kai Ching. Would SCGM venture into paper packaging?
Not at the present moment. Not at the present moment. We are still
concentrate on our product first.
we are still focusing on our core business.
Okay, understand. So not at the moment. Okay, go into paper packaging. There are actually many questions to ask about the two products that you put up for sales today, which is the SCGM face mask and also KPM. Would you just take a short moment to explain about these two products so our participants know which one to buy?
Okay. Introduce KPM first. Okay. Just now we say offer for special price $10 per box. 50 pieces, that means it's only 20 cents. It's a medical grade. We have the cert, everything, and provide to prove you. Even though few test report like TUV and then local lab also we have sent to lab test already justified is medical grade. The other one is of course like you buy a Mercedes or a Proton Saga SCGM is something look like Mercedes a better quality. The BFE is slightly higher. So what just now we also have been going to recommend, we got 4-ply or 5-ply also, depend on your request.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sri. So I think we will conclude the question and answer session for now. So do you have anything else to add to our participant today?
Well, I would like to say thank you very much for attending our briefing today, and stay safe, be healthy, practice your SOP, and get yourself vaccinated. And let's just go back to our normal life as soon as possible. That's all I need to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 谢谢大家，祝福大家平安。
Okay, yes, thank you so much, Dr. Sri, for the well wishes. So let me tell you more about our Can Trade webinar. Okay, our next Can Trade webinar is titled 复苏之路 Recovery at a Cost. So it's happening on next Tuesday, 27th of July, 8:30 to 9:45 p.m. So we have given you the registration link in the chat box. So if you are keen to learn more about this topic, please join us and register yourself for this session. So in this session, we will talk about, we have invited Mr. Tay Kian Yong, the senior analyst from Tenaga Investment Bank, to tell us where are the investment opportunities in the third quarter of this year and also in the second half of this year. So as a senior research analyst, he will share with us what are the sector recommendations as well as what are the key investment themes in the second half of the 2021. All right. So if you want to learn more, where are the silver lining in this pandemic, right? Yeah. Remember to register for this next Can Trade webinar. So for those of you who have not had a Can Trade trading account, please fill in your interest in this form. Online form www.cantrade.com.my/open-account-form. Once you put in your account opening interest, then Kenanga will arrange a friendly dealer representative to attend to your account opening request. So please go to www.cantrade.com.my/open-account-form to open your account with Kenanga. All right, with that, thank you everybody for joining today's session, which is live chat with SCGM Bhd. So thank you to Dr. Sri Lee Hock Singh, Dr. Sri Lee Hock Guan, and also David Chen for sharing with us the overview about your company, your products, as well as your ESG practices going forward. And thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Okay. Bye, everybody. See you in our next Can Trade webinar.
Okay. 钟翠山 still in.